Welcome to another episode of Lost in the Script TV, to the Victor Goes the Chaos, episode 185. How y'all doing? Hopefully you had a for you and your families. Virginia says, peace and love. So to the Duke in the chat, we'll catch the replay. Have a strong end, everyone versus the week one until start over on Monday. Shout out to you, Regina. Hopefully you enjoy the replay. Honorable. Hey, y'all. And we're back. Happy Black History Month. Happy Black History Month to you as well. Chaos, chaotic energy all around. And a lot of victories to speak of and some losses, obviously. We're going to get to some stuff, politics, a little bit of celebrity stuff, some news. Try not to be too long-winded with it, but we shall see. Hold on, let me make sure this is correct. Hold on. All right. All right. Let's go ahead and get right into it. First up, unfortunate news. What up, Ashley? Shalom. All right, let's get into it. First, I want to start with a rest in peace to Irv Gotti, music executive, who created Murder Inc. Records died at 54. Rest in peace to him. Celebration to his accomplishments and all the music he was a part of. Early 2000s with Murder Inc. Obviously one of the most iconic runs when you talk about the Ja Rule and Ashanti and all those songs, his songs with Jay-Z and all those songs. So shout out to him. Rest in peace. Condolences to his family. And he was one of the things that's unfortunate with him is him and obviously two others were people that could have drastically changed the music industry in the early 2000s. Things could look totally different. And probably for the better if him and if he was able to succeed what he wanted to do, which is start his own label, separate from Def Jam and such. But obviously things didn't work out. He got hit with the feds on him and all this other stuff, and accounts were frozen. And just so happened it was in the midst of a beef with 50 Cent and all these other people. So could have been even more of a brighter star if things could have went different. And it's funny because now looking back, considering how things are now with the streaming era and how these record labels are playing games, probably would have been a great thing for some of the people that were against him back then. They probably would support what him and the other two were doing now. Definitely would support it now, but rest in peace. All right, in a tag along to this story, unfortunately, is the ever petty 50 Cent. Honorable says Irv was an embarrassment in his last of his days, I guess. RIP, respect 50 for not shifting his energy. Yeah, that's what I was going to say. It's unfortunate that a lot of people only know him for the last 2 or 3 years where he was going around saying certain things and, the thing with Ashanti and such. He'll be remembered by a lot of people for that type of thing, for being just a messy old nigga. But I would hope that the other things that he was a part of will have some level of remembrance as well. But like you said, 50 Cent definitely kept it, didn't change. I felt like 50, and we're going to get to that later. I think I'm done calling 50 Cent petty. He's not petty. 50 Cent is maliciously vengeful. Like it's not pettiness. It's not something that's little pap. He normally does things that can drastically affect people for even the slightest bit of what he considers disloyalty or coming against him. Now, obviously, 50 Cent and Irv Gotti had a quote-unquote beef for decades now involving not just the music side with Ja Rule and stuff, but obviously the real street side with Supreme and all those other people back in the day in New York. Gotti didn't directly have something to do with it, but he was associated with people who may have allegedly had something to do with 50 getting shot 9 times. So I always say that I don't think it's never a good thing to speak about people, speak about ill about the dead. But I also say that I understand when people hold a grudge against somebody who really could have ended their life, honestly. I said the same thing with Gucci and Young Jeezy. When they did that verses, look, man, you put money on my head and could have gotten me killed. I don't even know how they try to turn it into like a semi-friendship on that stage. I would never be in a room with you ever. But, you know, money is money and people want to make it. So 50, I feel like he didn't go as far as he could. It was disrespectful, but he posted a picture of him with a RIP next to him, and he said, "I'm smoking on that Gotti pack. Nah, God bless him. LOL." So he was, you know, in a 50's own way, he was somewhat respectful, but he really wasn't. I've seen a lot of debate on this, whether or not this is, you know, in poor taste or not, and it's 50, so it is what it is. But another story involving 50 is this BMF situation. So recently, Big Meech, who is the infamous drug kingpin from back in the day, leader of the BMF, Black Mafia family group, who went to prison, got released recently. 50, obviously, created a TV show a few years ago based off of his life and his brother, BMF. Sidebar, that show to me, from the first and the last season, has gotten worse, but that's besides the point. 50 obviously saw that Big Meech, now released, took a picture with Rick Ross, who, if you remember his song from back in the day, I think on Big Meech, Larry Hoover, and even before that, Rick Ross already knew Big Meech. 50 didn't like that, decided he's going to go and call Big Meech a snitch, yada, 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 a bunch of street stuff. And 50 Cent then pretty much declared that if the next season's viewership isn't a certain number, they're going to cancel the show. I don't even know. We don't even know now if the show is coming back. I don't really care, honestly. But I see people defending 50 Cent's going at Big Meech because Big Meech, quote unquote, showed disloyalty. And the question got to be, how much loyalty did Big Meech need to give 50 Cent in this situation? People keep saying, oh, 50 Cent took his son and sent him to acting classes to help put some money in his pocket. I was like, oh. 50 Cent sent my son to acting classes because he was investing in someone who was going to benefit him later on. Let's not act like the only person benefiting in 50 Cent doing this TV show is only Big Meech and his family. 50 Cent gained something too. So he didn't invest in somebody and just go on with his life. It was for a reason. So, you know, it is what it is. The street stuff I could care less about. I will say with this situation, Rick Ross going back and forth, and Rick Ross said he wants to start his own TV show. I mean, he started make a new movie based off of Big Meech and BMF. And then they found out that, oh yeah, 50 Cent owns the rights to Big Meech's story and his name and all the other stuff. I just thought to myself, man, it's never been more true to be careful who you get in bed with. When you get in bed with someone like 50 Cent, you have to understand that person and how their perception, how they view loyalty and such, how everything is on thin ice, how at any moment they can flip on you for anything you do that you may think is inconsequential, and next thing you know, you got someone online just disparaging your name in the top of the year. It got to be a bad feeling, even if you don't know how far it can go yet. Have someone like 50 Cent in control of your public image and name and able to do whatever they want to do with it in media. Unfortunate story. Also, it was lame of 50. I got to be honest, posting that Little Meech's dudes, posting his message. I thought it was lame, but it is what it is. Condolences to everyone involved, or congratulations. It is what it is. All right. Now we're going to move on to some more celebratory news. I don't say this story is confusing. Does he need money that bad? The real question. Well, the son said in the text messages to 50 Cent that the reason why his dad is even taking pictures and going on tour with Rick Ross is because he need money to pay his bills. So I guess that kind of answers. If his son is being truthful in those messages, then yes, he need the money. He was a drug dealer back in the day. He had all this money, but he went to prison and all that money is gone, obviously. And he's trying to get his bag any way he can. I saw the jokes too of people saying that Rick Ross was his PO, considering Rick Ross obviously was exposed by 50 Cent as a CO, correctional officer in the prison. I will say 50 Cent has done everything he can to destroy Rick Ross. 50 Cent recorded this man's baby mama in a sex tape and released it and did a whole commentary over it like a pimp. And it didn't destroy him. If anything, in the beef between Rick Ross and 50 Cent, if you look at history and just how things came out, or when things came about, Rick Ross somehow won the back and forth with 50 Cent. He may be the only person to musically and through social media beat 50 Cent. 50 Cent did everything to crush him, and he was able to make it. Anyway, more celebratory news. Shout out to Kendrick Lamar. Autumn says, correction, a jealous ex sold 50 that dry sex tape. He didn't record it. Well, you correct. But then funny enough, didn't she end up suing him? She ended up suing him and winning in court. So I don't know if she sold it to him. I think it was sold to him. I think someone else recorded it, whoever she was dealing with, and they sold it to him. She didn't give it to him because she ended up suing and winning the case against him, which I think he ended up filing bankruptcy, saying that he ain't had the money, which we know he was lying. But anyway, Kendrick Lamar dominated Grammys with Not Like Us, cementing his place as West Coast royalty. 5 Grammys. I don't know if it's the first, but one of the first times I've seen a rap song win Song of the Year at the Grammys. 5 Grammys that night. I saw people saying this is the biggest moment in his career. I have to, when people keep saying that the last couple months have been the biggest moment in his career, I disagree. I get it. He kind of disappeared for 5 years from 2017 or 2018, should I say, to 2022. But I remembered when Damn dropped, when he was everywhere. He won 5 Grammys that night. Grammy night in 2018 when he dropped Damn, when he got all those awards for Damn. He won a Pulitzer Prize for, like, I don't think this is the height of his career. I think this is the first time we've seen him active in 6 or 7 years. And yeah, like I remember in 2017 when he dropped Damn, when he outsold the person who we all feel was the biggest artist at the time, being Drake, where he did 600,000 first week. I remember how that year went. It is what it is. Now, obviously, Drake the next year ended up dropping his biggest album, being Views. But yeah, I don't think this is the peak of his career. I think this is just Kendrick active again, honestly. Anima said, yeah, her jealous ex sold it and she won. Now Auntie Tia telling us that baby mama didn't have enough money to bury her mother recently. Sad. Hey man, Tia Kemp, is that her name? Tia Kemp and Rick Ross are made for each other, man. When you see how she talk and carry herself, her and Rick Ross are perfect for each other. K-Dot. Yeah. So shout out to Kendrick though. I also saw, and another thing, Beyonce got her first album of the year. So congratulations to her. And she also got a country album of the year. I think that she's one of the few black people to win it. I can't remember exactly what number. But yeah, what's her name? Doechii won rap album of the year. She's the 3rd woman to win the hip hop rap album of the year. So yeah. But so the Grammys went that way with the awards. I saw some of the performances. It was, the new artists they're bringing in with Shabuzi and all these other pop acts they brought in. I did remember last year when they were constantly reporting that country music was the #1 genre and how it was doing certain numbers on the charts. But towards the end of the year, when the numbers officially came out, it was still hip hop was the #1 genre in the world. In the world. So nothing really changed. But anyway, I got to comment on this too. Kendrick Lamar just recently did an interview with Apple with Ebro and Nadeska. And I got to be honest, that was one of the most boring interviews I've seen in a long time. And I won't necessarily say it's because of Kendrick. He's clearly an introverted person. He just don't do interviews and stuff. But when I looked at Ebro and Nadeska, they kept asking the most, and I get it, it's Apple, it's connected to the Super Bowl, there's a certain way this has to look and feel, but it really wasn't a hip-hop interview. It was an Apple Super Bowl NFL interview. I just think they were too corporate they were too much. There was too much cookie cutter questioning and obvious questions you were going to ask. I think Ebro purposely let Nadeska lead the interview because she's the one who's kind of more associated with being a journalist, while he's considered like a hip hop, media personality. But I wasn't feeling that interview. I like the stuff that Kendrick said about hip hop, how it's an art form. I've been saying that for my whole life. How hip hop to me requires the most. Hip hop to me is the highest form of art when it comes to literature and all the other stuff. To me, it's one of the only art forms where you have to look at it from an emotional and an intellectual standpoint. Interpretations matter. It's so much into hip hop, like real lyricism, the poetry of it. It means so much more than most other genres that's kind of just surface level, So I did love his answers towards the people that asked the questions about being yourself and making sure you always stay authentic to yourself, how hip hop needs authenticity and grit, that bite that he was mentioning, how things get soft and you need to remind people what hip hop really started. How you have to remind people that sometimes you got to get on this microphone and say something that not everybody want to say. You got to be willing to stand for something, or, as they say, stand for something, fall for anything. You can't just get on these songs and just want to make people feel good, which I understand there's a purpose for that too. Not everything needs to be political. Not everything needs to have a deeper message. Sometimes people just want to get on the song and sway. As that song that Kendra said, she just want to close her eyes and sway. So shout out to him for the interview. But yeah, it was kind of boring. I wish they would have been just a little bit more colorful. It is what it is though. Honorable says horrible. They let that chick talk too much. Honorable says not one follow-up question. Strange. Yeah. Which made me think, once again, it was only a 30-minute interview. It was one of the shorter interviews. Like, if you want to see a good Kendrick Lamar interview, you can really go back to Big Boy. He does good interviews with Kendrick every time you sit down with him. So, yeah. Hopefully, at some point, we get a real sit down with someone who is not so corporate, is not so, stiff-necked. Hopefully, at one point, we get something more laid back, a real Kendrick interview at some point, but we'll see. Shout out to him, though. Shout out to everyone who won. I want to show this, too, because there was some controversy outside of Beyonce winning Album of the Year. Those Billie Eilish fans are pissed. They on Beyonce's comments cussing her out, saying she didn't deserve it. Yeah, I saw a theory, by the way, because I have noticed that it's okay to not like Beyonce, obviously. People have their choice in what they want to listen to. And it's also fine if you follow the behind-the-scenes backdoor stuff allegedly connected to Beyonce, to not like her, who possibly as a person, what you think she may be connected to. I'm not going to go into that. But I see people lie about her talent now, and it is getting to a point where I understand some of her super fans who think that she might be the most disrespected mega celebrity I've ever seen. Like, her name comes up and it's down the middle of who like her and who don't. It's not even like a respectful dislike. Like, not for me, but it's like she trash and she shouldn't be named, but yeah. So, but anyway, another controversy that happened was AP apologizes for abruptly ending Babyface interview for Chappell Roan on Grammy red carpet. Let me show what happened.
Yes, I think.
Hold on, let me show it.
Yes, I think it's interesting.
Chappell.
You guys want to do that? Go do that.
So sorry. I'm so sorry. Hello.
Oh boy, that pissed a lot of people off because they were interviewing. Babyface was being interviewed by AP News on the carpet, and they kind of made it obvious that they didn't talk to him. They wanted to talk to the new artist, Chappell Roan. He got the message very quickly and said, "Yeah, do that." He moved on. A lot of people saying you're disrespecting a black legend and a legend in music in general, R&B music. This is so disrespectful. But I immediately thought, like, why would this little young white girl care about your quote-unquote legends? Him stopping to get an interview with them is more of a, why did he even stop to be interviewed by them? Why is Babyface doing these type of interviews on the carpet? This is Babyface. You don't need to do this. You don't need this exposure. I mean, it is what it is. And then I saw people making comments about, like I said, the white people not respecting black legends in music. And you shouldn't expect something from people who have told you historically they don't care. Honorable says, most disrespected is a reach. Are you talking about Beyonce? She's been handled with kid gloves compared to other legends. Even she struggled to make herself look like she's overcome something. Well, when you talk about overcome something, she's never did anything publicly that has led to any controversy. I mean, there's nothing, you can't say she's been handled with kid gloves when she hasn't done anything extremely controversial. One of the most controversial things she's done in the last couple of years is when she had the American flag on her album, when she put the American flag in her videos, and politically people didn't like what she did. Hell, she got in more controversy when she did the Afrobeat or African album for the movie Lion King, where the Africans didn't like that. They said that she was using Africans as an aesthetic. That's the most controversial thing she's been a part of. She hasn't had the other fallout, so there's nothing really to overcome, unless you just mean that people just don't find her relatable, which is understandable. Anyway, let me play what Sean Stockman from Boyz II Men had to say about this quote-unquote disrespect. Let me play this.
Hey y'all, what's going on? So I was watching the Grammys and I happened to see something that really, really bothered me. A friend of mine was on the red carpet and interviewed by a couple of young ladies. And during his interview, they saw someone that was, I guess, currently hot right now. And they called over to that person, basically interrupting my friend, who, by the way, is a legend in the music business, not just black music, but in music in general. His interview was abruptly cut off because they were trying to get the attention of this particular artist. And my friend, being obviously and rightfully so upset, just handed the mic off and walked away. I was talking to my manager, Joe, on the phone about this, and he raised a question. It's like, or rather he made a statement. Like, that would never happen in the NFL. Like, or the NBA. You would never disrespect Magic Johnson. You would never disrespect You would never disrespect any football legend, Deion Sanders or whoever.
Shout out to him, but this comparison don't really fit to me because sports is different from the music business. The music business, in sports, the best player remains the best player until they're not the best player anymore. The numbers drop. You can statistically visually see a difference in someone being better or worse. Music is subjective. And music is trendy. So the newer artist who's really popular is always going to get more shine in music than the older artist who's already a legend, a legacy act. So I don't understand the comparison. Why would you expect this 20-something-year-old Caucasian young woman to want to interview Babyface over another Caucasian young woman who's she's hot right now. She has songs on the charts. She's everywhere. She's being promoted. Yeah, they're going to want to talk to someone they listen to daily and not someone who their mother or their parents or older family members knew. So it is what it is. Honorable says, Babyface, like Beyonce, prefer to be disrespected and dismissed by those white people. That's their targeted demographic because they pay more. Next story. Well, I got to agree with you. When you're willing to take the disrespect for the financial benefit, you can't complain, which he didn't. Shout out to him. He didn't complain. He hasn't said anything publicly. APS came out and said they apologize and yada, yada, yada. And he hasn't said a word. So I guess he's willing to just deal with those things because it benefits him in the long run. All right. But I am going to the next story, though, because I want to get to this right here. Kanye West. We back in Yeezy season. Speaking of, to the victor goes the chaos. I said earlier, Kendrick was able to get his victory through chaos. And Kanye West, who years ago, but he was no longer a billionaire. And he went quiet for a little while. He released some music. His comments were a little more tame. A billionaire now to be in. So Kanye West has surprised arrival at Grammys as wife Bianca rocks with nude outfit reveal. I seen a lot of white people in particular that was, clutching their pearls at this, even though this has always been a thing on the red carpets, where women especially would dress a certain way to be provocative and to stand out and get headlines and the picture snap. And they're trying to blame Kanye for the wife being dressing this way, even though she dressed this way before she was with him. With this came a lot of backlash, obviously, and people saying it was inappropriate. But what I saw was another war going on, because the clothes that she was wearing is clothes that's going to be competing with Kanye's ex-wife, Kim Kardashian's clothing line, that Skims, I think it is. So this was just free promotion. Y'all constantly talking about it. What up, Kiefer? I can't scroll down far because, she's pretty much, butt ass naked. But I saw a lot of pearl clutching, and it kind of, I made it obvious what the reasoning was. But, Kanye, who is now on Twitter going through rants saying all white people, but your two wives have been, it is what it is. They don't want to get to this right here. Kanye West proclaims he's a Nazi, praises Hitler on X. People said they're both attention whores. Exactly. Which is why when they kept trying to make what he was doing nefarious or some type of, it's an abusive relationship and he may have her in some sort of sex cult. No, I saw this as them wanting attention. The Grammys are going on. He was given a nomination for that song Carnival from Vulture's One. He knew he wasn't going to win. I need attention. So I'm going to have my wife do what we've been doing for the last 2 years, and now y'all are talking about him. Then he goes on Twitter and goes on a typical rant at this point, things he's been saying for years now, trolling people, saying that he's a Nazi and he likes Hitler and all this other stuff. But one thing seemed to have made people angry, but I'll get to that in a second. What I want to know is the black people. I saw a lot of black people, based off of what Kanye was saying in these tweets, unfollowing him, and it makes sense for other artists and people with corporate interests and sponsors to unfollow him, whatever. We've seen this before. But I was kind of confused why so many black people were disowning Kanye for his comments about another race. I'm not saying you have to agree with him or be okay with what he's saying, but it's not that serious for you. I mean, for just us. Why would we care about him talking crazy about some other race? But it seemed like his comments towards that guy, Virgil, the one who passed away, the designer or fashion guy, he said F him. I think later he said he loved him. That seemed to be what made a lot of his fans angry. And once again, this is just Kanye on his F everybody. He said in his tweet, I can say what I want to say. All you puffy Me Too women are lying. Yada, yada, yada. He defended Puff. He defended all these other people. It's like, and then people are on the timeline saying, oh, Kanye just wants attention. Let's not give it to him. But you were talking about him the entire day he was tweeting. He was like #1 trending all day, but you're not giving him any attention. So speaking of anti-Semitic, because the ADL came out and, obviously responded to Kanye's comments, literally after defending Elon Musk. They just defended Elon Musk for doing the Nazi salute. Now they on Kanye again saying, he's anti-Semitic, more anti-Semitic comments, yada, 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 whatever. People say he needs a timeout. Yeah, just take his phone. Why ain't somebody on his team have access to his social media accounts, and when he starts doing this, just put his account on private? Boom. He can keep tweeting to the abyss to his followers, but you just put him on private, and it's all solved. But it is what it is. This is obviously for a reason. He probably got music coming.
I hate you because
got something dropping, so we'll see. Now I want to show this right here.
I hate you because we.
Says, beware of digital blackface. I didn't see too many of us caring Virgil was a thief. Oh, man. Yeah, I remember when Virgil he became a meme when I think there was some type of donation for something. I can't remember. It was something important happened, and that people were donating to this cause. And I think he donated like $200 or something. And people were like, you donated just $200 to this fund? And they started referring to $200 as two Virgils. That was funny. Anyway,
From different neighborhoods.
this is Snoop Dogg and Tom Brady in a commercial about hate speech. Particularly, it was funded for to fight against anti-Semitism.
I hate you because we're from different neighborhoods.
I hate you because you look different.
I hate you because I don't understand you.
I hate you because people I know hate you.
I hate you because I think you hate me.
Because I need someone to blame.
Because you talk different.
Because you act different.
Because you're just different. Man, I hate that things are so bad that we have to do a commercial about it.
Me too.
This is what it says. Say, stand up to all hate paid for by the Foundation to Combat Anti-Semitism. It's a cold game. Publicly, that's how cold. They can end you, get you deplatformed if you point it out. But you have a particular group of people that's been able to get other group of people to defend them through their own, what they're going through. It's like when these people, these tiny hats, went and got black people movies, right, about the black struggle, but the about Jewish people and their struggle. They use you and your struggle to get people to get sympathy for them. Crazy. I don't show these checks. We have. What do y'all think about that? The NFL tomorrow. Seen a lot of people because the NFL announced that they will be taking I haven't watched the NFL game in years, and it has nothing to do with Colin Kaepernick. I'm just letting it be known. I didn't stop watching because of I'll keep it still. We choppy. Hold on. Let me know when we good. Mike. Let me know when we good. Okay, we good. Yeah, the NFL announced it will be getting rid of end racism out of the end zone. Like I said, I haven't watched the NFL in a few years. It had nothing to do with Kaepernick. I just didn't watch it. What up, Mark? What up? Yeah, I haven't watched the NFL game in a few years. It had nothing to do with Kaepernick. I just lost interest. So I didn't know that they had the end racism tag in the end zone of the games. So now for the Super Bowl, they're removing it. So I'm wondering what sponsorship deal, what corporate deal did they make where they asked for that to be removed? Is that just Trump being there and he wants to quote unquote get rid of DEI? Because they're tying everything black to DEI. And I'm not saying Trump. I'm saying the mainstream or legacy media is doing that to kind of, make this propaganda that everything DEI is anti-black. So it is what it is. Margaret said Jay-Z started that. Okay. So now, didn't they re-up on his deal? So if they getting rid of that, that means Jay-Z had to, I'm not gonna say he could stop it from happening, but he kind of had to, have info that was happening. So, and it's dumb anyway. What in an NFL game you put in racism? Like, all right, what's this gonna do? But anyway, Margot said it was the NFL way to avoid a paper Nick Kaepernick issue. Yeah, okay. Well, you ain't get him in it anyway. You ain't let him in the NFL game, but you're gonna do everything anyway. Whatever. But I don't care. I don't think people should care. I saw Mace from Cameron Mace on the show. I saw Mace say stop hating black people. I don't think he was talking just to the NFL. He was saying basically why is it so hard to just say end race, and why is that such a thing where just saying stop being racist is seen as, I saw his whole rant. Shout out to him, I guess. Arnold says Mace made a good point. Yeah, he did. I ain't gonna lie. I don't watch they show that often. I watch clips here and there. I don't know if maybe this is normal for them, but I was surprised that he made that point. I didn't think they really get into the weeds like that, the racial points. But maybe I'm sleep on them. But yeah, as I said, Kanye came out and defended Diddy, which made some people mad. And I'm gonna say right now, I've been I don't know if y'all seen it, but I saw that Chopper interview on the Art of Dialogue. And the comments he made about certain people in that band, and I think a lot of these people are hurting the case against Diddy. I'm saying that now. I think so many of them are trying to come out and say something to get a headline or try and get a bag, and I think it's actually hurting the case against him. So far, the worst thing we've seen Diddy do, I want to say, is putting his hands on that woman, Cassie. That was nasty. But as far as all the other stuff y'all are accusing him of, it sounds like parties that people consented to so far. So we'll see. But I want to show this. Vlad got them on Interview Crown again.
Somebody, a talented person. You know, we talented, passionate people. I don't, bro. Understand. And or laugh about it after they do it, you know. Like, I don't get it.
Says, I'm tired of these urban interview platforms always hosted by other. The Art of Dialogue. He's one of the few that's actually a black dude, as far as I know.
That's why I said none of them are innocent. I'm not here to expose anybody, but none of them are innocent. Y'all all coming after this man for dollars when y'all were a part of it as well. Y'all were down too. Like, that's not fair. That's not fair to him. It's not fair. Fair to me.
It's not fair to people that with actual story that actually been affected by that. Because then it make everybody seem like they just try out to get something or, you know, whatever, opposed to it being real people that went through real stuff, you know?
Did you ever confront Diddy about this?
I kept trying to get in contact with him because all I wanted was an apology. All I kept saying, like, could you apologize? Like, could you just apologize for what I can't talk about right now? But I just wanted to apologize because something was wrong with me. Something was wrong. And like when you Vlad interview, you could look at me and tell like something was wrong. Like I wasn't the enthused person. I wasn't cute. I looked like stressed. I looked like I was in a dark place. So like you could tell like something was wrong. Like
I ain't gonna lie, man. Prayers to him, peace and all them. Hopefully, you know, whatever's bothered them, eating them, they're able to heal from it. But bruh, the vagueness is getting played out. Like, what is this vague stuff going on? At this point, like, come on. What up, Rob? I'm over the vague. He did this to me, but I don't want to say it. And like, come on, I'm over it. Just say what he did so we can have an understanding publicly. Just expose it. He did it. Say it. What did he do? All right. Let me show this now. Janelle Monae. Oh, Mystery Man. All right. What up? What up? What up, Mystery Man? Rob. All right. Anima says he suffered from behavioral health issues. Not sure why the others are crying. Well, I would imagine they know what he's crying about. Something that was done to him. He said he didn't want to say it publicly. And they crying. Well, maybe allegedly Puff did something to them too. It can't just be he robbed us. It can't just be he robbed you. He took money from you. So it got to be something more personal. Janelle Monae honors Quincy Jones and Michael Jackson at Grammy alongside Cynthia Erivo and Stevie Wonder. You know, quickly on this woman here, Cynthia Erivo. However you said it, Ero, whatever, Cynthia. It's funny how those comments she made about Black Americans on social media years ago, but yet every time you look, they throwing her in anything they can as Black American history. It's crazy. But I want to show a little quick clip of this right here. This is Janelle Monae's Michael Jackson performance tribute. When I saw this, I immediately thought, I think she's drunk. She has to be drunk. There's no way, as talented as they tell us she is, that she got on stage singing in that key, dancing like that, to be a tribute to one of the greatest performers, let's be honest, the greatest performer ever. Out of all the people, and I get it, they said the reason why they used her is because they were getting anybody who was associated with Quincy Jones. It was a Quincy Jones tribute, not just it wasn't necessarily a Michael Jackson one. But there are so many more people you could have gotten to do this other than Janelle Monae. They did the same thing with the Usher tribute at the BET Awards. What are we doing? This woman, and I'm not saying people can't like her music. She had a song a few years ago that went, her last album, a single went big because she was showing them Takeover biddies. Honorable says she been trashed ever since she made LGB her brand and narrative. This is why, LGBT, her brand and narrative. This is why we get what we get when we support her their sexual liberation. And I will say, since she's came out with that I'm pansexual thing, she's gotten so notorious. It's old as still announce their sexuality, and all of a sudden they're all in your face, all on the radio, all on the award shows or giving out awards. They're everywhere. But they keep telling us that she's so talented. I'm not saying she doesn't have any talent, obviously. But come on. She's like 0 for 2 in these tributes now. Rob says, cringe. Keeper says, I agree with Honorable. They should have gotten Chris Brown. Shout out to, how did I forget that? Shout out to Chris Brown for getting his Grammy R&B album of the year for the 1111 Deluxe. He didn't get the R&B song of the year for Residuals, but that was given to Mooney Long, if I'm not mistaken. So shout out to Chris Brown. They finally lifted the black ball, and I gotta say it now. Don't worry, at some point Travis will be back on here. But Travis said last year in like July, he said the Chris Brown industry blackball is over. His album 1111, that's the 13th year. The 13th year. I'm just saying numerology that he's been blackballed. Travis said is uplifted. I mean, not uplifted. The curse or the blackball has been lifted, and you're gonna see him now. He's gonna get promoted a lot differently, or maybe not. Maybe they just giving him a Grammy. We should have gave you a Grammy for like 2 other albums, but we'll give it to you for this one to apologize and move on with our life. But that wasn't me. I see Keeper said you called. No, it wasn't me. It was Travis. What happened? No way they give Chris Brown a Grammy, and they sure did. Alma says, this was for Quincy. Then this performance was fitting. This is exactly what his legacy deserves. Oh, Honorable, even Sierra. I would have liked Sierra to do it too, if you're going, because now they like to choose women to do tributes for men, which is whatever, fine. Sierra would have been a much better choice. If you're not going to do Chris Brown performance, you could have got Usher. He still can move. You could have gotten a few people. Now, y'all might not like this next one, but because they do copy him a lot, you could have gotten The Weeknd or Bruno Mars. Don't attack me. I'm just saying, because they do a lot of Michael Jackson stuff in what they do, particularly The Weeknd, you could have went and got them. I mean, I'm just saying. Honorable says, didn't care for the Afrobeat cuts. I did like that one song where he used that little girl's voice. I did like that one. It says Grammy to keep that Afrobeat movie going. Ooh. All right, Honorable, you're doing some science. All right. Because he integrated that sound in his R&B, is it possible they're trying to use him and winning a Grammy there in order to influence Black American music? That could be a whole topic, but maybe he had to go and do their bidding for them to give him something for it. I'm just saying, I still listen to Heartbreak on the Full Moon. So anyway, call immigration. So yeah, Janelle Monae, please set her down, man. Nah. Please stop. We get it. She's pansexual. Y'all like, but then she wanted to do something else that I think was in poor taste. I think it was an after party to the Grammys. She was performing with a band, and she was covering the Nelly song, Hot in Here. I think it was Hot in Here. And in the midst of performing the song, she freestyled over the song and started talking shit about Nelly because of his performance in front of President Trump. So let me play that. Hold on.
Getting so hot, I take my clothes off. Just fall
And you notice the band tried to keep going and ignore what she just did, but she didn't stop there. Once again, chaos.
I used to like Nelly, but then he went to perform for Donald. I don't give a I'm with my family. Ain't nobody gonna hate on us, and I'ma look back like I don't give a I care about women. I care about Hispanics. I care about Spanish people. I care about Mexicans. I care about people. I care about gay people. You sold out. I used to think you was cool, but now you look like a mother fool. Going up to the inauguration to participate with some who don't give a about who you feeling. I don't care what you really saying. I might be a little tipsy, but I know everything I'm motherfucking saying. Now, if you think I'm rude, fuck you get a new attitude.
You know, it's unfortunate when such a beautiful woman has such a nasty personality. People says how trashy, how worst rap ever. Yeah, obviously she got a lot of backlash for this one. Obviously, you had the people that are just, look, man, if we're a decade in now. If you're still hardcore anti-Trump, get over it, bro. Move on. He has done nothing that every other president hasn't done. Your life has not gotten extremely worse or like, come on, what are we doing? Y'all told me this man was a dictator. Y'all told me he was anti-democracy. Y'all told me he was so many bad things, and then y'all willingly transitioned power to him. What are we doing? Get over it. Get over it. He's not any more anti-woman than any other president. He's not any more anti-black than any other president. I'm sick of it. Get over it. Honorable says trying to win over a room full of people that voted for Trump by attacking another black is diabolical. It's nasty. He said facts. What up, Craig? Yeah, this is the L for black women. It's starting not to be that way because even on social media, I see a lot of black people who are going out of their way to announce or denounce the Democratic Party and say, hey, look, man, we have to stop supporting either party. At some point, it has to click. And as you get older, I can understand when people get older how people start to distance themselves from certain things and start saying, look, man, I'm just worried about me and mine because trying to work with y'all, we're not going to get anywhere. You have to be willing to work with, in politics, I mean, and deal with people who don't like you. Y'all go to work. You go to work, and most of us hate your boss. You hate the person that pays you. You hate your supervisor. You hate all these people, but yet you're willing to do what's necessary to get your money, to get what's necessary to take care of yourself and your family. Why won't you do the same thing politically with a president when they could benefit your community? And I'm not saying Trump is going to do these things to just help the black community go 180 and do all these incredible things. I'm saying you have to take steps to get what's necessary from the people who have the power. Mark said, didn't James Brown support Nixon? That's the crazy. We've had black people who we respect sit next to and talk with and yuck with some of the worst people ever. You have Black Panther and these civil rights activists that sat down with KKK members. They sat down with the worst of the worst because in this moment, this is necessary because it may benefit my people. If you truly care about your people, you will sit down with anyone that can benefit it. Damn. And now y'all still on these rants about, and notice, by the way, in her rant when she said, I care about Mexicans, I care about women, did she say I care about black people? I'm not going to say she didn't say that because they started playing the music and you couldn't hear everything she said. But she said women, gay, Hispanic first. So it is what it is. People says I love this rant. Anwar says I'm high key tired of the 92%. You referred to it as 92%. One day is I told you so. Then they protesting DEI that they didn't benefit from. Shake my head. We have to clear up the misinformation. That's another thing. DEI is not equal to black. DEI is not black. They have found a way in the public to demonize anybody who speaks against DEI by saying DEI was for black people. No, it wasn't. It did not benefit black people. It didn't. Like everything else we've been naming for the past year or whatever that Trump been getting rid of, it benefited white women. I've been yelling at the top of my lungs for the last 2 years what this is really about. Black people. Trump don't he don't care what's going on with you. He's doing what he promised his voter base. He's doing what he said he'll do on the campaign trail. He is not going out of his way to harm you. He's indifferent to you. You should be looking at that as a strength and saying, well, what can we get him to do that would benefit us as well? Because that's what the left wing been telling us for the past decades. What they call it, rising tides, raise all boats, whatever it's called. So basically, we have to do something that benefits everybody and it will help you too. Well, you got to do that with the right wing as well. Yes, they're going to benefit more, but if you can get something from it, do it, and you can. Black people supposed to have this hustle culture, right? We're supposed to flip things, make it get a little bit and make a lot out of it. We've been doing it since we've been here. Why can't we do it politically? Anyway, I'm done ranting. Mr. Man says, MC Jigaboo, aka Snoop Dogg. Snoop been told y'all for the longest since Snoop beat that murder charge, and since like the early 2000s, Snoop is the most famous in the world. There's no one more famous. There's no rapper more famous than Snoop Dogg. Snoop Dogg is the Shaquille O'Neal of rap. He'll get in any commercial. He'll take a bag from any company, any corporation, any sponsorship. If it make him money and build his brand, he will do it. It is what it is. Mr. Man says DEI only benefit 4% of black people. Exactly. Honorable says Trump and Republicans literally tried us the plane accident to backfire on the black DEI narrative, and they continue to spread misinformation. Trump's words and what these political commentators on the right wing say. I understand words to poke a fire that they've been trying to build for the past couple of years. They've made comments about black pilots, and we're gonna get to that too, the black pilot thing. But his speaking on DEI is he feels that Biden and Obama lowered qualifications around the country for certain jobs, and it's made things worse. People are not as proficient at their careers because we have lowered the qualifications. So it is what it is. I said most of the 4% was LGBT and immigrants. Yeah, that too. Anyway, let's move to another quick update story. I think we talked about this a couple months ago. I'm not going to stay on it long. It's not much it's not surprising. Teen sentenced to probation in hate-fueled attempt at drowning on Cape Cod. The victim, who was black, told investigators that two of his friends who were white tried to drown him in a goose pond in July of 2023. I think we've seen like 3 stories like this with a young black male had a white girl push him into the water and he couldn't swim. And then after he was, they didn't even try to save him. After he ended up getting saved by someone else, he came out and defended them and said how they didn't know he couldn't swim and I was playing like that, whatever. And I feel like there was another 2 stories like this. But in this one, young white male was 30 months of probation and 720 hours of community service. He was 15 years old. He agreed to the plea deal for attempted murder and assault with a dangerous weapon over the July 19, 2023 incident in Goose Pond in Chatham, Massachusetts. Tried to drown him in a goose pond. He went on to say he was also ordered to stay away from the victim. Prior to educational course on respect and this goes back to what I was saying about how old we've been talking about this for the last 3 years or so. He was fit. He knew what he was doing. But should a 15, 16, 17-year-old be punished forever for something they did at that age? Should it be a 20, 30-year penalty for something you did at 15? Is a killer or, psychopaths and lunatics. But, they always are able to find a way to show leniency. What it is. And I remember I was debating something with someone about crime and somebody else, yada, 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 same old. Duty came up. And I realized, well, everybody I know go out be a part of jury duty. They'll make every excuse to not do it. But then they complain when someone is harsher sentenced or found guilty for something they should been want to be a part of the peer group that make their decision. So we kind of the problem. And says, yeah, man, it's all of them kind of got it in them though. Even up here in Washington, I've heard some of the most that passive aggressive, or not even passive aggressive, but that just weird comments they make up here. I remember I was walking one day, and I was stopping somewhere, and a Caucasian guy walked up to me, and he tried to make small talk, and I'm just like, yeah. And for whatever reason, he decided to compliment my shoes out of nowhere. It's like, whatever, okay, I know what he's doing. And then he started telling me that he read that book by the former Seattle Seahawks player, the one who kind of off a little bit. He wrote a book about racism. Yeah, I read that book, and I'm just like, yeah, I didn't. I'm not interested. And you just realize how people try to connect to you with things they believe you will agree with. Sometimes it's misconceptions. It is what it is. I'm tripping. I didn't mean to get rid of that. Hold on, y'all. Deleted something I didn't want to get rid of. Keeper says, LOL, yes, this is totally Washington State. So was he flirting? Chill out, Honorable. Chill out. See, you've been throwing that on black men a lot. Chill out. Look, Mr. Man saying the same that he wanted to date. All right, see, now, this is why you can't tell stuff to y'all. You can't tell personal stories to y'all. All right. Did he mention it being dusty? No. Now I want to show this. Y'all let me know if it's still lagging or not. Look, the time reveals the 2025 list of the closers. So I'm guessing this is a list of the 25 black leaders of 2025, according to Time magazine. Coleman Domingo, Gabby Thomas, Elaine Weltroff, and more to join Time in New York City for the evening celebration of the closers on February 13th. Today, Time revealed to 2025 the closers list recognizing 25 black leaders working to end inequality. They still trying to give us our leaders, ain't they? So look at it. These are the people. Look, man, and I ain't want to hate. I don't want to hate, but there's two people that stood out on this list that I realize now have probably done some backdoor deals that, yeah, Keith, I agree. I know if you know where I'm going. These two right here, the dudes from what's their name? The podcast they do, the financial podcast they do, financial literacy podcast. The fact that they're on this list, we've seen them in rooms with billionaires and all the black millionaires. They host this event every year in Atlanta where they invite all these billionaires and millionaires. They got big during the pandemic. I feel like their viewership and the attention paid to them is not equal to the status they're being given by mainstream media. Put it like that. I feel like most people don't really look to them for financial advice based off of numbers, but they've been put in a position where they're the face of black finance. So it is what it is. A lot of these other people on this list, I'm be honest, I don't know. These are the people they're saying Time Magazine are the 2025 closers, the leaders, the black leaders. Mark Gordon says, how many are black American? I know for sure Coleman Domingo isn't. I know those two dudes, as far as they're from New York, so I don't know. They went through the list. Mercy Man says, that one on the lower left definitely eats fried chicken. You talking about this one here? She might not. She might eat empanadas. You never know. All right, see, that's pretty much that. The actor, they got Coleman Domingo, Danessa McRicks, David J. Johns, Dorothy Roberts, Elaine, I already said that name, Lee Smith, Elizabeth Yam Pierre, Emily Anadu, Gabby Thomas, Hank Williams Thomas, Jotaka Addy. So we know some of these people obviously ain't Black American. Niecy Nash. Oh, Niecy Nash broke my heart. Philip Cooper, Rachel Scott, Reverend Raphael Warnock. Warnock, man. What happened to him? Is he still in politics? Is he still in office? Says, I saw the lady from the California Reparations Task Force, and that told me everything I needed to know. She compared her miscarriage to every health issue experienced by African Americans. Shake my head. It's traumatic, I guess, you know. That's our Black leaders for this year, y'all. What did Nash do? I think they just grabbed people who are got connections with certain people. You know, Niecy Nash came out as, she's lesbian. She's married, ain't she? She married a woman. So I guess the inequality she faces is from a lesbian Black woman perspective. Because everybody on that list it's not just Black. The Coleman Domingo he's gay. So everybody on there is either immigrant, gay, you know. And the Black women on the list, they'll say their inequality is mainly based off of them being a woman, not necessarily being Black. People say pass. Honorable Danessa got a makeup brand, good products, but nothing about her says standing against racism. Well, she's a woman, so she's going against. She has to deal with inequality in business, and as being a woman. A Nash is LGBTQ. Yeah, man. When she came out with that, like, damn. She was married, had a husband and everything, divorced him and married a woman. Crazy. And then she started getting these TV shows and movies and stuff, so we know how that go. What you think about this Black leader, quote unquote, being chosen for us? He's been hitting to it for 3 years or so, 2-3 years. He's trying to build a buzz. Stephen A. Smith breaks silence on 2028 presidential campaign speculation. So articles have been coming out recently, or polls, should I say, where for whatever reason, they got Kamala on the polls and all the typical candidates from the Democratic Party for 2028. And at the bottom of the list, they had Stephen A. Smith. He polled in 10 or something. And I said, what's going on? Why? This is a quote-unquote reputable news organization. This is a reputable polling organization. So why are they putting Stephen A. Smith's name on this list? So obviously this is a soft launch, or maybe even hard launch at this point. It says ESPN personality Stephen A. Smith broke his silence on reports that he was emerging as a potential 2028 Democratic candidate for president, while speaking exclusively to the Daily Mail in New Orleans ahead of the Super Bowl. Smith, who was critical of President Donald Trump's return to office, despite having also said he felt like a damn fool for supporting Vice President Kamala Harris. That's called playing the fence. He's trying to play moderate. Hey, doesn't say I type stuff. In her 2024 campaign, said he would likely still be doing sports in 4 years, but acknowledged that he would not. Smith has been getting into politics since he started his own show. He started doing it before, back in like 2014, 15. He would go on Fox News every once in a while. Even at the beginning of the Trump 15, he started going on Fox News more, talking sports, because he know that's where the money is now. If you can get a political audience to follow you, you can have staying power. It's always relevant. And politics constantly changing and stuff, so it's always something to get into. I mean, iHeart been they gave Comedy Central and iHeart have been throwing shows into politics for the last decade. They've given them like 4 or 5 shows. They've gotten interviews with all the candidates you can get them interviews with. They've gotten them interviews with presidential candidates, all the politicians, pundits, commentators. Hard to get him in as well. But I feel like he's just not going to be taken serious. I don't think Stephen A. would be taken serious either. Arnold says Stephen did all those shows during the election just to vote for Kamala. He voted for her because he was Caribbean, nothing more. I think y'all are underestimating the amount of people that said they voted for Kamala, but actually voted for Trump. I think there's a lot of people on social media and on television, hell, in your personal lives that are lying about who they voted for. I think there are Kamala's vote count pretty much is California and New York. Like that's a long. But I think if California turned red just a little bit more, I think the next election could get real bad, real spooky for the Democrats. But he says he is a joke. Yeah, but yeah, it says, rather than talk about me being an elected official or running for president of the United States, how about I'm some strong as Sean Hannity's? See, comparing himself to Sean Hannity's or strong as Mark Levin's or as strong as Rachel Maddow. Shout out to the dude Travis Watch. I forgot his name already. He's one I heard say that. How about that? Smith told the Daily Mail, because that's more plausible. However, I will confess, like I said, that I have no desire to do this. Haven't we heard every presidential candidate say they have no desire to run for president? Because the purpose of something like this coming out is to put it out there, see what the public is saying and thinking. Then you acknowledge it so it grows. Hey, I'm not even thinking about running for president. And then, you see what the feel is. They do the polls, they do the testing, the think tests, see what the internet or the social media is saying. And then you, in another year or so, you acknowledge that I might. It is what it is. Honorable says, Stephen is a proof that black rage pays. He talks against us just to vote blue. It's crazy. He went on to say, but assuming that I'm well off, that I have lots of money and money is no longer a concern, if the American people came to me and looked at me and said, yo, man, we want you to run for office, and I had a legitimate shot to win the presidency of the United States, I'm not going to lie. I think about it.
Well, we don't believe you. You need more people.
Honorable said this hurts him. Racists can't trust him. There literally was no good reason to vote for that lady. Well, he tried to defend Trump in certain moments too. And let's be honest, there's a lot of people, the same way there's a lot of people that voted against Trump because he's Trump and didn't really vote for Kamala. There's a good chunk of people that voted for Trump just because he's the only Republican we can vote for. Trump's the level of positive attention he gets from his base isn't as strong anymore. I mean, they look at Trump like you're kind of our last hope type of thing. This is why his vice president, the way he seems to be carrying himself right now, because at first it was looking rocky, the way he looks now, they're starting to swing towards, oh, we have somebody for the future in him. So we'll see what happens with that, with them wanting to give Trump a third term. Mystery Man says the owner of the New England Patriots' son is running for mayor of Boston. That's money. He says no one is coming to him. No one. But you got to put it out there to make people talk about it. It's like an artist announcing. It's like when you see these actors announce a movie or a remake, and it's not even in production. Because they're just trying to get a little feel, get the audience talking about it so the studio can see the attention they gain and put some money behind it. It is what it is. Anywho, Stephen A., we'll see what you got going on in 2 years and see who's willing to put a backing behind you. We'll see. Because stranger things have happened. Remember a few years ago we heard that The Rock was thinking about running for president? I've heard a couple names, so we'll see. Akiba says, did you watch the DNC chair vote? No, I didn't. What happened? I see you laughing. I didn't get to watch that one. I forgot. I know who they voted for. I forgot his name. Mark Gordon says Stephen, or maybe I'm talking about the old person. Stephen A. Smith is a hardcore capitalist who pretends to be moderate. Oh, the chair vote. Yeah. I didn't see that one though. I'm thinking about the House. I'm thinking about the House. I didn't see the chair vote, DNC chair vote. Oh my God, hilarious. You have to go watch it. I'm gonna look it up. All right, let me show this now.
See, that's another conversation we as black people gotta have. Mm-hmm. Now, see, in the South, we didn't grow up with the Latino community. We grew up with black people and white people. Mm-hmm. That's it.
I said the same thing. I had one Puerto Rican girl and one half Asian girl in my class for my whole time in school. I didn't see, some Native Americans or Melungeons people, should I say. The Melungeons, because they're not really Native American. They mix. It's some crazy stuff going on in North Carolina and South Carolina. When you look at the ethnic groups in North Carolina and South Carolina from like the 1800s and what existed and what it led to, there are some German Pakistani mixed people in South Carolina that call themselves like it's all kind of mixtures that happen in South Carolina, which makes sense because South Carolina was the way people came into the country through boats and ships, whatever. So a lot of people just came to the country and just stayed in South Carolina, and it led to some strange mixes, which is funny because South Carolina was one of the states that was majority black at some point. But anyway, back to what you were saying.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So for me personally, when I look across in other states and I see black people up here worried about who the Latino people voted for, I feel like that's not our business. That's not why are black people always trying to connect our struggle to somebody else's struggle? They ain't got nothing to do with you. Because get what? Them same Latino people, you go to jail. You can't go over there and talk to them. You in the black part. They're in the Latino part. In jail, everybody's segregated. Well, why when we get out here on the street, the only one that ain't segregated or act segregated is black people? See, that's the...
It's so good when you hear common sense sometimes. Because they say common sense ain't... Mr. Man said, I grew up with all ethnic groups and they all stay to themselves. Yeah, I mean, one of the most... Well, through just over the years, I've learned that one of the most segregated cities is like Chicago. New York, as much as it's a melting pot, it's still very segregated. But I think New York is more separated based off of finances, your money status. In the South, it's like you live in a neighborhood or a city or whatever that's just your people. It's just like growing up, it was like a thing. And when you saw somebody black dating somebody who was Native American or Indian or whatever, Melungeon, it was like, oh, what's going on here? Like I didn't see too many friendships or couplings that happen like that. It was like there may be one or two people in the whole neighborhood that got a friend that ain't black. It was just a different time maybe, but I feel like the South is just different like that because it's a different culture. Obviously, it's the root of the culture, you know, where it all come from. But people go out more to the coastal cities. Obviously, it's more immigrants. It's more ethnic groups, and it's more diverse or whatever. So it leads to people mixing up a lot more. You look at the main two, California, New York, but even Texas. You look at, you know, up here in Washington, you go places, DC. Somehow Washington, Chocolate City, was able to be black, but it's now mixed up with more immigrants, African immigrants and stuff. So Arnold said sexual access is the only answer to his question. I agree, but I say that for both genders. I feel like when you see somebody who's very ardent in their defense of being around and just, well, they're just constantly fighting to justify connecting their culture or struggle with someone else's, is normally because they have either children or family members that are from that other culture. So it is what it is. Craig says facts. Mark Gordon, he said people are tribal. Naturally. Hell, even amongst a race, it's still fragmented and separated within the race. It's your tribe. Yeah, we might look the same. We might have the same, somewhat of the same culture, but we have a slight difference in this or that, so we have to be separate. It is what it is. Anyway, so shout out to him. Shout out to Goody Mob. I gotta get into this too, because I got a question to ask y'all when we talk about respectability politics. We talked about it a few weeks ago, or was that last week? Whatever, with a few weeks ago with Martin Luther King, how his image has been used to push respectability politics. But I want to ask y'all this question. I'm gonna start with this first. Black Hawk helicopter in DC plane crash had a safety, senator says. So they didn't tell us who was flying the helicopter at first. That was a woman, which led to them bringing the DEI thing up again. That led to a whole thing. Now they're saying that the safety system was off. Then there were rumors that the woman who was on the Black Hawk was a former aide to Biden, but they said that wasn't true, that they mistake that woman for someone else, that wasn't her. But why was the safety system off? And I didn't want to say it when it happened because, you know, some people don't like the conspiracy thing going too far into it. But when I watched it, I get it at night in the sky. It's very dark. When you're in a city like DC, there's a lot of lights. So it's hard to discern between what's a light coming from a plane versus what's a light coming from a building or whatever. But when you watch that video, the helicopter, which is supposed to be more agile, so it can make slightly quicker movements, it flew directly into, I'm just saying this looked strange to me. So then now we're seeing all these crashes around the country. Honorable says, for the women, that sexual access is pointed in the direction of Pan-Africanism, which is why it goes unnoticed in many cases. I don't think that's true. I think when you go to these, college campuses and especially get into politics, one of the things that you see women complain about when it comes to trying to connect cultures that way is typically because they also are dating somebody of their other culture. I think that's across the board. But anyway, I know y'all been seeing these plane crashes going on around the country. You had one in Philadelphia. You see right here, 7 dead, 19 injured in high-impact air ambulance crash in Philadelphia. Japan airline plane clips tail of Delta plane at SeaTac Airport up here in Seattle. They weren't even in the air. They were on the ground still, and they got into a little fender bender, I guess you would call it. Then the one in Alaska, missing Alaskan plane found with all 10 people on board, presumed dead. Now, I've seen people say that the reason why we're noticing these is because people are flying more, because post-pandemic, people are flying more, they're trying to get out more. Because, a couple years ago, they weren't able to do it, so now people are just flying more. I would have believed that 2 years ago, maybe even last year. I don't think that's the case now. I always say that whenever you get headlines, it's because somebody wanted you to see it. So when something happens and then they start just giving you headlines for the next month, showing you how much that is happening, it's probably because something is coming. They're trying to use that to push a certain narrative. Says, wait, Gail got a new hair color and softer cut. I love that for Auntie. Says, have any of these plane accidents slowed down getting the immigrants? No, but it's definitely slowing down people from wanting to fly. I've seen a conspiracy that it has something to do with people with the underground transportation that's possibly coming in the next couple of years, where they're trying to get people prepared to not to fly as much, maybe to only use planes to go international or long distance across country flights rather than next state or whatever. They want to use underground transportation possibly. I don't think they would need to do that. If something is more convenient, people are going to use it. You don't need to scare people with plane crashes to do that. So, but this leads me to this right here. Speaking of the DEI and the plane crashes and safety or whatever, a pilot released a video after a flight. He gave glory to God for landing. He was happy that he sent on yada yada. Marked the train in comeback infrastructure countries, Asian countries. You look at their transportation, it's like decades more advanced than America is from the 70s. Train from the 40s. Yeah, America hasn't system in decades because people here drive. So just drive more, I guess, in most cities at least, most states. But let me know what y'all think about this right here. This is a black man who was a pilot, and people were disappointed in his aesthetics when he showed how he looks when he flies the plane.
Hey, another successful flight. All glory be to God. Just touched down at the airport. Dealing with this career, you gotta be cautious. Most of all, you gotta stay prayed up. Believe it.
So this brother posted this video, and in the comments was people lambasting, just going in on him for having a grill and dreads as a pilot. And I expected that from certain demographics. I was shocked by how many black people were basically saying, if I get on a plane and the pilot has a grill or dreads, I'm not letting him fly me. And I want to ask the question, is that a form of respectability politics? Is it necessary for your pilot to have a Caesar cut, no facial grill or whatever, just regular natural born teeth? Does his aesthetics matter and how he fly. Would you fly on a plane with someone who has tattoos? What are the conditions where you would? What are the conditions needed for how they look for you to be able to trust them to fly the plane properly? Because he did his classes, he did his flight school, he got his hours in, he's successful in doing this. Why does it matter that he just has dreads and a grill? How much does a grill change his skill at what he do? Now, I understand that even in the Bible, it tells us that a man is judged on his countenance. So how you look is how you will be perceived. I understand that the grill, for the most part in our community, is connected to the streets or a certain part of the subculture, criminality even, dreads as well. But I feel like in this instance, the fact that he's even in a video telling, prayed up, he's talking about giving glory to God and stuff, I was kind of disappointed with it. Mark says, I blame the movie Soul Plane. Keeper says, I'm okay with the hair, grill, no. And what does a grill do? Why does a grill make you feel unsafe with this pilot? What is it about the grill? Is it a perception that because he has a grill, he's going to be doing too much? He's going to be flashy when he's flying? He's going to be trying to do certain things? He's going to be not paying attention? Is that what it is? Mr. Man says, who cares? A pilot is a pilot. Adam says, would you fly? The ticket is already purchased. I have never heard of groups of people walking off planes. It's almost a silly discussion at this point. It should be. And I do think some of this is just people responding on social media. I think in real life, if you get on the plane and you're on your way to see your family or your loved ones or whatever, or a business trip, if you see this person walk on the plane, you see him in the cockpit, you're probably not getting off. But the fact that if you have time to think about it, you're willing to even hesitate at flying with him is kind of surprising to me. Keeper says, is it removable? If so, it's a distraction. So is your assumption is going to be that when he gets on the plane, he's going to be taking it in and out of his mouth? Or you think something could happen up there with it in his mouth, maybe fall out or something? Missioner says, but no cared for all the years that white people were flying drunk as fuck. Denzel movie, he got there. Your pilot be up there drunk. Pilot be doing all type of crazy stuff in the cockpit. Let's be honest, in modern day, most of the pilots they get in the air, they get to flying level. What is it, 40,000 feet, 35,000 feet, whatever it is, and they hit the autopilot button, and they just sit there for the next however many hours. Like when you go from here, when we fly from here to North Carolina, it's normally like a 6-7 hour flight. I've had 5 hour flights, and I've had like 7 hour flights from here to Carolina. And probably like 80-90% of that is autopilot. So, but outside, that's understandable. Hey, it is what it is. People, how you look matters, obviously. So, to me personally, maybe it's my environment that I grew up in. I would smile even more because I would know if you're confident enough to wear dreads and a grill as a pilot, that means you did everything you needed to do. You got flying colors. You are way more than qualified if you have a grill as a pilot. That means you've done what's necessary for them to not ask you to not wear the grill and to not wear your hair like that. Well, you're just good at what you do, so they just go do what you do. I would kind of trust you more, not just on the whole racial aspect. Just I know if you look like that and you're flying, then you did what you're supposed to do. Keeper says, I think they need to focus on what's in front of them, and that's not their hair, clothes, teeth, shoes, or anything like that. No distraction. That's a fair point. Mr. From the black pilot. Any stories about black pilots just crashing planes left and right? So most of the pilots that have been crashing have been Caucasian, but they are the majority. 80% of pilots are white, so most of the planes that crash are going to be white, but people say that's one way to look at it. Yeah, that's how I look at it. It is what it is. I'll celebrate his different aesthetic as a pilot than automatically deem it as possible negative. But it is what it is. People were on his ass. People saying ain't no nigga with no dreads and grills flying me nowhere. The same thing happened with the discussion about the lawyer. There was a lawyer. These stories pop up all the time where a lawyer will post a picture of them with a certain look, and people be like, "Oh man, whoever he representing is going to jail." And it's just not always the case, Some people they grew up in the environment, they completely connected to the culture they grew up in. I think this guy is from because it came from Duval News, so it sounded like he might be from, the South, maybe. So dreads there is like normal. Like it's not too many people from there that don't got a grill or dreads. So, it is what it is. Anyway, shout out to him. Shout out to him. Mystery Man, he probably got his baby mama in his cockpit.
One thing you gotta know, I'ma be a nigga for life.
All right. Anyway, let's move on. Next topic. Honorable says, we need more concern with the Martin Luther King impersonators, not locks and grills. Yeah, the real scammers come from the other side. It's hard to scam somebody when they automatically don't trust you. When you dress up a certain way to seem like somebody who should be trusted, and they're the ones that get you the fastest. Look at the pastors. Anyway, they say it's the ones you love and trust that do you the worst sometimes. I went through that. All right, quick story on this. Race to sell chickens at the New York City live poultry markets ordered shutdown due to avian flu. I talked about it last week. Kansas City had a tuberculosis outbreak going on. It's now other places that got it too. I said, man, something going on again across the globe, really, with these alleged spreading of these diseases. We talked about it from the Congo, where they think that Ebola might be the outbreak. It's not proven. They keep saying it's a mystery disease in Congo that's doing what it's doing. But with this right here, live poultry markets in New York City race to sell off as their chickens and other fowl Friday after 7 cases of avian flu were detected, and state officials ordered markets in the metropolitan area to close for a week. Governor Kathy Hochul said there was no immediate threat to public health, and the temporary closure of bird markets in the city and its Westchester County and Long Island suburbs came out of the abundance of caution. Avian flu has hit farms nationwide, led to slaughter of millions of birds, and driven up egg prices. Egg prices. I forgot what restaurant it is, but there's restaurants now, chain restaurants, that's now charging 50 cents an egg. So every egg they use in your meal is 50 extra cents. Michigan says going to be a lot of black people with the flu. Craig says they just keep on with the damn outbreaks. Oh, they keep trying. I'm very happy that monkeypox is not the one they're choosing to spread. Because boy, I don't know, man. That would have made somebody take a whole bunch of jabs. I'm just saying. Even though it was only affecting one segment, but just like everything, it starts to spread because you started seeing a few women get it, and next thing you know, it's all over the place. People said it was Waffle House. Okay, Waffle. Oh, and who that's going to affect the most? Down south people, especially the Waffle House. So now you got to pay 50 extra cents for every egg, man. Ooh, the egg prices. Through the officials said no cases have been detected among humans in New York. The state order came after birds infected with the virus were found during routine inspections of live bird markets in New York City boroughs of Brooklyn, Bronx, and Queens. Those markets have to dispose of all poultry in sanitary manner, according to the state's order. Then there's this right here. Who is this Twitter page? Outbreak updates on X. They posted this. Couple cases of tuberculosis reported in Ashland, Montana. The cases emerged alongside widespread outbreaks from influenza, RSV, and H1N1. Now, tuberculosis is, people started saying in the comments, oh, tuberculosis is airborne now. It's like, well, it's always, I saw people say it's always airborne. It's now spreading possibly. Like I said, if you look up tuberculosis right now, a main place that'll pop up is Kansas City. So be careful. We'll see which one they choose to strike with if they decide to go that route. All right, hold on. All right, here we go. Speaking of striking, I saw the last couple of weeks, we've been talking about the cartel, how certain people across social media have been spreading this idea that the cartel is not afraid of the American military or America. And they've been pushing this idea that they don't really understand what America has in this country, in their military. They don't understand how when you see that list and they show the budget of America, America puts towards the military. And if you combine the next 10 countries, it still is not as much as America and how much they put towards its military. They're in for a rude awakening. Let me show this right here. Okay, I didn't make one for. All right. Here we go. Border czar Tom Homan threatens military action against Mexican cartel if necessary. Border czar Tom said President Donald Trump won't hesitate to use U.S. military if Mexican cartel targets American troops on the southern border. Didn't Mexico just agree to put their troops on the border as well to stop fentanyl from getting through? I think the cartels will be foolish to take on the military, but we know they've taken on the Mexican military before, but now we have the United States military, he told ABC News Live on Thursday. Do I expect violence to escalate? Absolutely, because the cartels are making record amounts of money. Haman said, going on to say that they continue to secure the border. We're taking the money out of their pockets. And let me go here, because a lot of the people that are pushing this almost pro-cartel thing are the immigrants here in America who are now running around with their Mexican flags saying F America and stuff. You see here, Black Alpha Network, shout out to him. He said, illegal migrant protesters burn American flag and chant, "We built America," while waving Mexican flags. This is why Black Americans did not attend these anti-American marches. We will not crash out for these other communities. Mr. Man says, this will be the end of Mexico if they want to fight. It will be not even a week. It will be a week. So, let me play this here.
Who builds America? We built America. Who?
So now you got the Mexicans going around saying that they built America.
Who builds America? We built America. Who builds America? We built America. We build America. We built America. We still build America. Hey!
De control porque cerraron la ¿cómo se llama? Cerraron la autopista, cerraron el freeway. Por eso que se metió la gente ahí a protestar y por eso la policía se hizo presente para desalojar a toda la gente del freeway.
Oh, by the way, is it me or these protests like this that's going on around the country aren't being really reported on by legacy media? I haven't seen too many articles written or anything about these protests. Let me show this one next. And see, this right here is why school curriculum is going to change. This is why Trump and all his people are doing what they're doing to the education, because the Department of Education, you see they're locking the Democrats out of some of these meetings. And that's not fair, because when the Democrats did it to these January 6th meetings and stuff, people were saying that wasn't fair either, those committees. But you have allowed a culture to grow of anti-American nationalism here in America. It's been allowed to fester for so long now that it's absolutely normal for people to just burn the American citizens. Because most of these people are citizens. They're not necessarily illegal. They can burn the American flag and wave another. That's called treason. Mark Gordon said, do you play all of those videos of the Latinx community asking for Black support? Yeah, I played them last week where they was debating, whether or not Black Americans' support is necessary. Some of the men were saying, we don't need Black Americans. They don't even help each other. And then you had particularly the Mexican women who are making the argument that we do need Black Americans for support historically and all the other stuff. So, yeah, they're definitely back and forth with it. Honorable said, Biden told us we need to work with these people because they had the numbers, and yet they have no influence and no one cares. Well, yeah, I would say here in America, there's only it's obviously multiple demographics, ethnicities, whatever. But when it comes to politics, there's two races. There's Black and white. And you align yourself with either one politically in order to get a message out. So it is what it is. If you're on the side of protesting and feeling like you're being downtrodden, then you need to get on the Black side. If you're on the side of making sure something stays the same and structured is continued, then you need to be on the other side. All right, what's this? We got coming up next is, oh, this is old. Well, not old, but largest protest in National City, California, with hundreds of people waving Mexican flags turns violent as some start vandalizing property. The protest appears to love Mexico enough to wave the flag, but not enough to live there, considering there are 15 minutes from the border. This is more of those protests and what's going on. Let me just open this up.
This was the scene for most of the evening in National City. Droves of people took over much of Highland Avenue.
And by the way, we saw those exit polls with California. We saw how they voted. That California got a lot redder, lot redder than it did a little while ago. Which is funny because back in the 80s, California was a red state. Keeper says, I love what Cat said. Oh yeah, funny enough, this was crazy. Somebody posted that Cat Williams video on other platforms and it went viral. And we posted that video a year ago as a short. And now that video is getting traction on our channel. It's funny how the economy is on the internet. Honorable said, I will say I'm shocked they have not uplifted a black man to be the face of this little nothing burger. They need black bodies for media coverage. Actually, Honorable, this is going to make you happy if I got this. Hopefully I got this. Just jump through. I don't got it. Good. Actually, there's a video going around of a black dude, quote unquote. He's at one of these protests and he's dancing to the what's it called, mariachi music, whatever it's called, dancing to their music, and he's supportive of the Mexicans and he's waving the Mexican flag. It is a black dude who's doing that. Now, when he took his hat off, a bunch of people started saying, maybe not, but it definitely is some black people that's at these protests trying to protest with these Mexicans. So it is what it is. All right, let me play this one now.
Hello, TikTok. I am a little emotional right now. I am a teacher in Mississippi. I have Hispanic students. Yesterday, my Hispanic students were not present. Today, one of my students came back. When it was time for parent pickup, their parents were not the ones that picked them up. I'm sure that they didn't really know the people that picked them up, but they were told that somebody different would pick them up.
You know, I saw people already saying this. I'm not saying nothing different. You should always save your tears for your own. You should save those tears for yours, that heartache for yours. Our kids, no, let me be direct. Our young black boys can't read. And you're crying for another demographic. They can't read at grade level. You don't have time to be crying about Hispanic children. No, not to be mean, but that's just the truth. The fact that you are taking the time to show this level of sympathy and empathy for them is showing that, priorities aren't in order. But then again, you are a teacher, I guess. So there is a certain level of you have to care about all your students. But hey, man, hey. Anima says, not the dancing goofy. I saw the video in the Latinx man who wouldn't hide their air annoyance. Anima says she might be a Pan-African goofy or tether. I don't know about that, but it's 7 minutes. She went on a whole 7-minute thing where she talked about it. Her kids, Hispanic kids, parents were, obviously, they got them. And the kids were picked up by people who weren't their parents, and they probably going to go into the system now. And she's in her classroom crying about it. And it's like, look, man, it's unfortunate, but a good chunk of their people voted for that because they want them out of the country because they think them being in the country negatively affects them and the economy that they're a part of. That is what it is. I want to show this right quick. Let me show this.
All of the culture war propaganda it's bait. It's all fake. You know, I'm watching videos by Daniel Schmidt and John Doyle. I'm watching videos by young white guys who think that our country is being black bureaucrats. Young white radicals who have been out of has been mortgaged. They have been sold into debt slavery. There is no hope. You are a minority in your country. This is a country financed by debt. No one is deflating this global debt bubble. We are all going to pay the cost. And they have been tricked by billionaires into taking out their anger at black people.
I saw Cupid says, "Ew, this guy." Yeah, I agree, but I want to make a point. I want to say this. Oh, I don't know a lot about him. From what I know about him, he has grifted the white nationalist group. He's grifted that. That's kind of been his target audience. The whole white people are treated poorly and yada yada yada. So when I heard him say this, I immediately said, there does seem to be this push now. Yeah, see, Honorable got it. The shift is among us. There definitely seemed to be this attempt at this point to change the narrative to a nationalist narrative rather than a racial one. Because up until Trump won this election, the discussion was for these type of people was white nationalism, white survival. Now they're trying to flip it to a national, just American standpoint. And I am surprised by, I do know, like, for instance, Jason Whitlock. Jason Whitlock turned Christian, and now he's just Christian evangelical nationalist. And I said, I hope that black people don't go hardcore into the nationalist thing because it's not beneficial. It's okay to it's okay to support things that support your demographic that you are a part of, whatever. But when you start to lean hard into the type of things that he said in the past, I don't think it's beneficial to us. So I've seen a lot of black people retweeting this video or posting this out on social media. I'm like, oh, you should probably understand what this dude's views are. You should probably know what that audience in general that he has is about. They're about this whole big money, big corporate America. The government is trying to facilitate a change in America through demographics, and they're putting us all in debt. We're in debt slavery to the Federal Reserve, that type of stuff, which has some truth to it. But they're trying to co-opt, to me, that FBADOS thing now, and they're trying to grab their audience too, and we should be very careful of that. And Coastal would shit on everybody who ain't white, at least. But then when it comes to black Americans, but we kind of owe them something. They'll kind of make you the exclusion. Like, they deserve something, and you got black people that'll just eat that up like, oh yeah, she thinks we're, the same or equal. No, not necessarily that. There's the benefit to quote unquote having you on their side, because if our plan is to get rid of all these Haitians and Jamaicans and Africans and Indians who are now calling themselves black, by the way, if we're trying to get rid of all of them, they have attached themselves to black identity in America. So we have to make you not like them as well so that you won't be protesting with them when we want them out. Which is why I've been saying for the last 2 years, 8 years, when I see these black, quote unquote, black immigrants talk crazy, it's like, listen, man, if black Americans went hardcore right wing and anti-immigrant, it would 100% influence you. I know you think black Americans yes, dude. If they went that route, you would be gone in 2 years. It would be over. It would be very quick how fast it would happen. They want you gone. They want the country to be the majority white. If they get the okay from black Americans to make the country less black, they would do it. And we're going to get to that too with the less black comment, because now they're trying to deport prisoners. El Salvador wants to take some of the prisoners from America. I'm going to talk about that in a second. Honorable says, white Americans are sick. They love to hate us and low-key happy that they saw that small increase in black Republicans. We have to stand on nothing more. Too much on culture. Love her work. All right, so now let's move on. Trump of daily migrant detainee fights flights to Guantanamo Bay. Now they want to send them to Guantanamo Bay. Goddamn. Wasn't Obama, I keep saying this, wasn't Obama supposed to shut that down and kind of just went nowhere? The U.S. government officials are moving rapidly to fulfill President Trump's orders to turn the American naval base at Guantanamo Bay into a massive immigration detention complex, making plans to send daily flights there with migrant detainees. Two U.S. officials are familiar with the deliberations told CBS News Thursday. So far, 2 U.S. military flights have been sent to Guantanamo Bay this week with fewer than 24 migrant detainees who officials said have alleged ties to the notorious Venezuelan prison gang. Trey de Agua, can't say that, I'm be honest, don't speak it, no speak it, which is expected to be labeled a foreign terrorist group at Mr. Trump's direction. Did the same thing with the cartels. Then this, since we're talking about these wars and getting these people up out of here, Defense Secretary Hegseth says all options will be on the table when asked about military strikes in Mexico. And then something came out randomly. This was random. Scrolling down social media, and I see this post of the Navy weapon being a naval weapon being fired. But this just wasn't any weapon. Out of nowhere, they decided at least to allow the public to see them shoot a laser weapon. Laser test underscores greater advancements in directed energy weapons. We've talked about this before, that they have these weapons, they can shoot you with waves of energy where it can boil you from the inside. We've seen all this. They're now we have laser. This is almost like them trying to say we ready for World War III too. Because I haven't talked about the Ukraine situation, and Trump is now talking big and bad to Iran again. He said that if Iran does something to him, because they threatened to assassinate him, he said they do anything to me, I have it on record that we will immediately nuke y'all. It'll be over. Anima says this discussion's another nothing burger. American citizens, criminals are in no danger to be shipped anywhere. This is an executive order that could allow this. There is no executive order that could allow this. We have a constitution. Shake my head. Well, hold on. I'm gonna show you. Hold on. But back to this weapon. The U.S. Navy's high-energy laser and integrated optical dazzler and surveillance system faced its first airborne target during a test in 2024, a first time for the HELIOS program that will help the U.S. Navy inform other programs under the directed energy and electric weapon systems effort. So this test was done last year. Now I want to show this. I remember this. It reminded me of this right here. China uses microwave weapons to blast Indian troops in a disputed border region. Because, India and China, they have a border right on top of itself, right on top of each other, and they be fighting over the border. The radiation technology left soldiers vomiting and incapacitated without breaking no live shots rule. So they fired a weapon at these dudes, energy weapon, no bullets were fired, that completely incapacitated them, had them thrown up. Basically, when you go into detail in the article, the soldiers said they felt like they were boiling from the inside. Basically, the blood, all the liquids in their body, their blood, everything in their body began to boil within seconds of being fired with this. And if I'm not mistaken, they held this thing on them for like 5 minutes or something, maybe even longer. So they were in excruciating pain being fired with this weapon. That's China. So imagine what America has, what they can do. So yeah. As Honorable brought up that people aren't going to be deported. We showed this here. All right. All right. Salvador offers to take U.S. deportees, any imprisoned Americans. State mark be by the administration. So in trying to cozy up to Trump, he said he's willing to take any of your deportees, so any immigrant, and will even take your prisoners, because El Salvador has this super prison. They have this super prison they built to get rid of the gangs that's there. Now, if you watch the little doc they did on this, if you're in El Salvador right now, because they had a lot of gang problem, rapes, murders, and stuff, they're now they got so aggressive with their arresting of people in the gangs. They want to get rid of the gangs so bad. If you have a tattoo that says you're in a gang, you can commit no crime. If you have the tattoo on any part of your body saying you're a part of one of these gangs or cartels, you are immediately arrested. If you are accused of being in a gang or a cartel, you are arrested. They don't play no games. Their crime has dropped dramatically. And so now they have so much space in their prison, and they now want to try and import or have America export its prisoners, which is a workforce, by the way, which is not new to America, because America, if you don't know, has a lot of privately owned prisons, which is a form of exporting the prisoners, because they're not a part of the actual government prison system. They're in a private system. So they're already doing it. They just now will be in another country. But you see here, it says, Secretary of State Marco Rubio said on Monday that El Salvador offered to the deportees nationalities from the U.S., including incarcerated American citizens who will be held in the country's max. President Nayib Bukele offered to house in his jails dangerous American criminals in custody in our country, Rubio said in San Salvador, the second stop of his first foreign trip after meeting with him. Let me play some of this.
Agreed to the most unprecedented and extraordinary agreement. He has agreed to accept for deportation any illegal alien in the United States who is a criminal from any nationality or in his jails. And he's also offered for dangerous currently, even if they're U.S. citizens or legal residents.
Now, keep in mind, if I'm not mistaken, this is a few years ago, and maybe probably still now, America has the highest prison population in the world. America has the highest prison population in the world. Honorable said this proposal is embarrassing. Well, they're trying to make money. Mark said, is this their workaround slave? Exactly. So America has to abide by certain laws and stuff in their prison, even though they still in some cases are treated in inhumane conditions or whatever. They're still pretty much slaves. They make a lot of the goods we use out here in society, free society, and they're paid, half a cent on the dollar, whatever. But if we export them to another country with different laws and stuff, we can turn this into some real money-making stuff. We can turn this into a pretty much obvious and open sweatshop to make all type of goods. If America says, all right, our prisons are almost full, we have this huge population of prisoners, we're willing to export whatever percentage of it, the ones that's full, we're willing to export a certain percentage of it to El Salvador with kickback, because remember, El Salvador is not doing this for free. They want to be paid for this. But El Salvador is basically saying, if we'll take your prisoners, your full prison, we'll take some of those prisoners off your hand, the most dangerous people you got, the people on high max that's killed people, serial killers, the ones you don't want in your system no more, we'll take them for a fee. Honorable says, those illegals are only hard working in America. They're not going to work hard for them. I'm not talking about the illegals. All prison. They're not just saying illegal prison. They're saying anybody who's in prison, they will take them. That could be black, white, black Americans. That could be whatever your nationality or race. You can be an American citizen, family being here for 300 years. We will take that prisoner and they can spend their neck. Basically, imagine they sent all their life sentences to El Salvador. So anybody who got a life sentence in America, just send them to El Salvador. And we'll pay you whatever fee to keep the prison open. Breen says, peace, they're basically consolidating the cartel and prison industry and maximizing global profit. Exactly. Because the same way El Salvador wants to get paid for this, there's going to be obviously these prisons are going to be doing some work. They're going to make some profits for them. It's pretty much going to turn into a slavery situation. Let me show y'all how this prison look. Honorable says they would only be able to take illegals. They can't get citizens. That was clear in the state in stating illegals. No, American citizens as well. You ain't hear him? legal citizens and citizens. It's not like these people will be deported and can't come back. They will have to serve their sentence in El Salvador in their prison system. Let me play this right. Particularly if you're accused of or around or have a tattoo saying that you're in the gang, you are arrested and you have no rights immediately. The same way in America, they have particular laws against people who are part of criminal organizations, calling them terrorists. And I think it's in Georgia, California. I think New York has it too. It's there, but it's even more extreme. You have no rights. The second we figure out you're a part of one of these terrorist groups, you have no rights. You have no right to a lawyer. We can do whatever we want to do.
Official point 8.
Hey, man. Honorable says, prisons are low-key mega foundations. White corporations are letting citizens get shipped off somewhere else. Yeah. Brayden says, similar to how they consolidated illegal movies and music, can't get black market DVDs and 80% of your music is in your cloud. Took some time, but that's why, and it goes back to the whole Drake situation. They used Drake to make streaming get rid of the whole physical sales situation. I saw somebody on today because The Weeknd, his first week was 450,000. And 300,000 of that is said to be physical sales. And I saw people saying that streaming somebody's music is more important than buying the physical. And I realized that the reason why you hear Larry Jackson saying that, the 70s, 80s, and 90s are worth less than Drake when it comes to me, he was trying to put it on the pedestal because that's where they can make their money. Mark Gordon says the 13th Amendment says you are an involuntary servant when you are a prisoner. Yeah, I remember that doc they did on I think it's called the 14th Amendment, where they did it on Netflix. So technically, yeah, well, if you go to prison or you commit a felony, should I say, you are a slave to the state. Yeah, you don't even own your body. I mean, if you're a dude in prison and you get with one of these female guards, the female guards, the COs are accused of, that's pretty much rape because you can't consent to anything when you're in there. Let me show this now. So while all these things, I'm gonna go to this next. Trump threatens to cut funding for South Africa's land policy. So y'all probably already know South Africa is back on their bully. That the land grab is back. They're trying to get all the land back from the Afrikaans, I think they call themselves, the white South Africans. The problem is you got Elon Musk is in Donald Trump's ear. Elon Musk is South African. His family is a part of that demographic that went down there and colonized and was able to get rich off of it. So now Trump is saying he will cut all future funding to South Africa over allegations that it was confiscating land and treating certain classes of people very badly. That is hilarious. America is that's crazy. It's so crazy when they try to be the moral authority of the world. Land ownership has long been a contentious issue in South Africa, with most private farmland owned by white people 30 years after the end of racist system of apartheid. When they have been a continuous cause for government to address land reform and deal with the past injustices of racial segregation. Honorable says it's not legally feasible to deport or transfer U.S. citizens to foreign prisons. The proposal is symbolic and not practical. We'll see how they get around it. When money can be made, things get changed, and we'll see if Trump will look at it as a possible out. We'll see. The South Africa's president responded to Trump on the post on X. South Africa is a constitutional democracy and is deeply rooted in the rule of law and justice and equality. The South African government has not confiscated any land. Ray says over colonizers wanted to keep illegal gold and resources. Well, that was always about. That's what Congo was about. They're causing turmoil there so they can get access to all that cobalt and all the other stuff, the things they make the iPhone and all that stuff with. This is funny because you see the Africans bragging on that. Like, we the ones, the reason why you have cell phones. It's like, y'all not benefiting from that, though. You should probably try to run. But anyway. It's not about them. Trump calls directly for closure of USAID. All right. So for years, people have been accusing America of using their aid to other countries as soft power. We can fund your country's economy. You can feed your citizens or whatever when there's these refugees from these war-torn countries and all that other stuff. That's all soft power. And then we'll put boots on the ground when you trust us, and we'll take it all over and get all the resources. So Trump wants to end it all, he said, because of some of the things that they've been using this aid to benefit. Should have the video. What's the video? Sorry, y'all. Hold on. Let me.
Through
All right, here we go. Let me show this.
Through USAID over the past several years, these are some of the insane priorities that organization has been spending money on. $1.5 million to advance DEI in Serbia's workplaces, $70,000 for a production of a DEI musical in Ireland, $47,000 for a transgender opera in Colombia, $32,000 for a transgender comic book in Peru. I don't know about you, but as an American taxpayer, I don't want my dollars going towards this crap, and I know the American people don't either, and that's exactly what Elon Musk has been tasked by President Trump to do, to get the fraud, waste, and abuse out of our federal government.
You know, it's funny because I wish he would have brought up the money they were using to pay these mercenaries and these groups to overthrow governments. You talking about some damn trans plays and movies being written or whatever. Let's talk about them using that money to overthrow governments. They influencing their societies and putting propaganda over there, but they're also, killing people with the money. Honorable says, in your defense, changing the 14th Amendment is a step in the right direction to making this delusion possible. We'll see. We sure will. Honorable says, Arpo, where does White Lady come from? This is Trump's House press secretary, where he says false transparency. Exactly. Hey, focus on this other stuff that'll make you mad. Remember during the pandemic when they were doing the first COVID bill when Trump was in office? And in that bill, they had Pakistani gender rights, money sent to Pakistan for gender rights. I think Afghanistan, they sent money to Afghanistan for transgender surgeries or whatever. They had a whole bunch of crazy stuff in the bill. It's like, and Trump kept saying, why is this in the bill when we're trying to get money to American citizens to help them? Why are you putting this other junk in the bill? But what Trump didn't say was also in that bill was money being paid to news organizations to push propaganda to their citizens. Operation, what's it called? Project, what's it called? I got it right here. I'm gonna get to it later. Project Mockingbird. We're gonna get to that later. Abandoned in the middle of clinical trials because of the Trump order. The stop work order on USAID funded research has left thousands of people with experimental drugs and devices in their bodies with no access to monitoring or care. Brilliant says lobbyists do far worse damage. Yeah. Let's look at Israel. Asanda Zundi received a startling phone call last Thursday with orders to make her way to the health clinic in South Africa, where she was participating in a research study that was testing the new device to prevent pregnancy and HIV infection. The trial was shutting down. The nurse told her the device, a silicone ring inserted into her vagina, needed to be removed right away. When she arrived at the clinic, she learned why the U.S. Agency of International Development, boy, they be creating some doublespeak, boy, which funded the study, had withdrawn financial support and had issued a stop work order to all organizations around the globe that receive its money. The abrupt move forced an executive order by President Trump freezing all foreign aid for at least 90 days. Since then, the Trump administration has taken steps to dismantle the agency entirely. I know, says, speaking of Pakistan, tourism about to be up. Brady said, inserted where? Wait, yeah. In order to stop pregnancy and HIV infection, they put a silicone ring into her vagina. They're testing that. So, yeah. Yeah, the lady in Pakistan, quick look. Oh, man. So what's is she from Brooklyn? A Brooklyn woman. I think we talked about this last week. Is in Pakistan right now. She allegedly had a little relationship going on with some 19-year-old Pakistani boy. His parents, she got there. Parents wasn't feeling her. Said, "Hell no, you ain't marrying my son." Maybe I'm gonna clean this place up. And she said that he got to give her $30,000 for her to leave. She came back. She back now. She was over there raising hell for a little while. That was crazy. Brady said, "I need 20K from all y'all." Business.
One thing you gotta know, I'ma be a nigga for life.
Honorable says, question, who controls South Africa? Elon working for them. Don't trust them. Who controls South Africa? Wouldn't that be, well, I don't know if they're still, colonies still being ran by Britain, but that's who did all the damage. Was it Britain or was it, whatchamacallit? I think it was Britain. Oh, what's the other place? The ones who did all that damage in Congo, I can't remember. But yeah, I don't know. I guess you would say it would be the white party that exists in South Africa, the ones with all the money, the land. I mean, they probably run everything. Like I said, Israel been in contact with them for decades, so they probably got some type of dealings with it. I know said clips of her in the McDonald's took me out. Oh yeah, she eating the fries, but then when she shook the person's hand, she used the other hand to pick her fries up. They said, "Ain't nothing wrong with that woman. She ain't crazy." She over there, she had to hit a lick. All right, hold on, y'all. I just got an alert. Trump signs order prioritizing U.S. resettlement of white South Africans over discrimination. So is America going to import white South Africans? And I see here Ashanti reacts to Irv Gotti's death, an emotional tribute. We made history. I'm glad she was able to take the high road, by the way. Ashanti. With go down. Let's see. They keep focusing on places like Africa will be negatively affected by this, which is true. I looked at some of the places in Africa, 6 to 60% of their entire GDP is based off of USAID. So, you know, I think Kenya, they said that they lost 350,000 jobs or something when Trump did this. I think is it Sudan? Not Sudan. Somalia, I think 16% of GDP is USAID. Trump gutting USAID sends chills through Southeast Asia. NGOs across Southeast Asia say they will struggle to continue to work without U.S. Yeah. Frozen U.S. aid funding strands groups that support marginalized people in the Western Balkans. So even the Europeans, the Europeans, the ones that you don't really hear them speak positively about, really. Many non-governmental organizations in the Western Balkans have been left stranded with U.S. President Donald Trump abruptly froze foreign aid for 3 months. Some of the groups rely on funding from the U.S. Agency of International Development to serve marginalized communities. Other funding has been used to promote vital reforms in judiciary and in the finance and energy sectors. In Kosovo, USAID has promoted economic growth, assisting small and medium-sized businesses in the country's integration into the European Union and Euro-Atlantic institutions. The United States has invested $1.9 billion euros in there since 1999, including over $1 billion from USAID. Arnold says, why it seems all the foreign aid was LGBT related, everything, because it's called culture. They're the same with they did the same thing with Afghanistan and stuff when they was telling those countries, you know, you have to let women drive, you need to let women do this and that, regardless of what it is in your culture, your religion. They were threatening to take aid away from them if they didn't allow that. So they're trying to influence the local culture, and naturally, if we make your culture more Western, your kids will be more Western. So by the time you get to 15, 20 years down the line, they'll be willing to overthrow the local government in favor of something closer to what they now want attachment to, which would be more Western ideologies. Let's see this right here.
This is for entertainment purposes only. We should be celebrating the shutdown of USAID. I know it's going to affect 44,000 guys in Kenya. Most of them are these briefcase NGOs and these jungus who have come here to live a best life and changed Nairobi into the nightmare that it is. 350,000 Kenyans, sadly, will also be indirectly affected. But these were the guys who were being used to introduce all kinds of programs. Because the USAID was a military tool to control African nations using...
It's kind of crazy when a non-government organization is funded by the government.
Soft power. That's why you used to see you're getting USAID and then you also have to implement the LG. You know what I mean? So this revolution is here. These were the gatekeepers that didn't want Kenya to change.
So she's celebrating it, saying, you know, get your hands off me, get your hand out of my pocket, pretty much. I bring to the economic hitman in this book that explains how the U.S. infiltrate and fund other countries via aid and ministry and ultimately take them over. Exactly. They do it through religion. They used to do it with religion and colonization. They would come through, tell you, you know, you should follow our Jesus, our Christ or whatever. Put the cross on you, throw the holy water on you, and say, now you're a Christian. Now they do it through money and influencing the culture a different way. They don't do it necessarily. You still got those religious groups that exist, evangelicals, who go around the world and tell people they need to stop worshiping the devil and worship their God. All right. U.S. aid to be reduced to 209 foreign service officers and civil servants. Thousands of U.S. aid employees learned this week that they will be placed on administrative leave starting at 11:59 p.m. Friday amid slashes to the federal workforce. The U.S. Agency of International Development is expected to be reduced to about 290 workers from the more than 5,000 foreign service officers, civil servants, and personal service contractors, and it currently employs, according to the two sources familiar with the plan. So, yeah, U.S. aid to be reduced. I got it already. Then this was funny. I saw this. Zelenskyy won his money. Zelenskyy exposes U.S. over Ukraine war aid. Got only 75 of the 177 billion. Where is the remaining money? In a shocking revelation, Ukrainian President Vladimir Zelenskyy claimed that Ukraine has received only 75 billion out of the 177 billion military aid approved by the United States. Speaking to the Associated Press, Zelenskyy said he does not know where the remaining funds have gone, fueling speculation of corruption, U.S. corporate lobbying. You know, it's funny because right before this war with Putin and Russia, Ukraine was voted as the most corrupt country in the world. And you remember, you got Trump and Elon allegedly kind of looking at the books now. Where was this money being spent? So it's funny when you hear Trump and Elon say, hey, we're dealing with the Treasury. We're trying to figure out where these funds are going now with U.S. aid and all this stuff. Now you got Zelenskyy coming out saying, hey, I ain't get all the money. I don't know where the money is. I only got 75. Now you're trying to say, is it possible that Biden and his people were, skimming off the books? Is it possible that he's lying and he was putting the money in his own accounts or whatever? I've seen people say that Biden never sent Ukraine money. They sent weapons. So they would purchase the weapons from the American military industrial complex. So we would outsource the creation of the weapons or the making the weapons. So that's like Israel and places like that. So we would pay ourselves to make the weapons, and then we would send the weapons to them through the expenses. Honorable says, I hate how they position their narrative to be like the U.S. is the only country attacking and stealing from them. No other country takes their resources. I don't like it. Britt said, this is big money in rebuilding a war-torn Ukraine. Thanks to BlackRock. Remember, you see right here, I can't see it here because you have to use Ukraine version, but the Ministry of Finance of Ukraine, the person who runs the budget and the finances for Ukraine, remember they announced it was going to be BlackRock. So will Trump audit or would they try to, get BlackRock to open the books to see where the money is being spent that they're sending to aid? BlackRock, buying every damn thing or whatever. So that's funny. Zelenskyy is either trying to get the heat off of himself, or he possibly is exposing something that, he don't want to be blamed for. That's going to Ukraine, America. I don't care about this country at all. We tried, they lost at this point. You got to care when you gave them $75 billion. Not care about them winning or losing necessarily, but USAID funded 6,200 journalists supporting 707 media outlets globally. Reporters Without Borders warns of risk of independent media after USAID freezes. You're not independent if the United States government is giving you money. You're not independent. You're not an NGO. You're not a non-government organization if you're being funded by the government. Report Without Borders revealed that USAID funded 6,000 journalists, yada, yada, yada. The 2025 foreign aid budget allocated $268 million to support independent media and the free flow of information, which means that we support. The organization reported, citing a now removed fact sheet. The agency has been using the funds to provide training and support to strengthen independent media. I'm glad they put that in quotations, including large media organizations and smaller or individual media sources operating under repressive conditions. RSF also highlighted that USAID is primary donor for independent media in Ukraine, where 9 out of 10 outlets rely on subsidies. In Ukraine, RSF stressed the need for $96 million over 3 years to rebuild the Zelenskyy. All that money and no outlet could put a positive spin on Bears. Brayden says, "To be told, by the end of the day, them white folks gonna do what they want." Exactly. You can catch them in anything, and they're gonna do what they want to do. I'm not gonna read this whole thing, but this is Madiva slams Zelenskyy claims about U.S. aid as brazen lie. He pretty much said he did get the money. They got proof that $100 billion of Western aid funds allocated to Kiev is a brazen and cynical lie. Former Russian President Dmitry has suggested. So he went on the whole rant saying how you got the money, you're lying. These people are, these thieves will pardon themselves, and Biden has already started the process. Obviously, he started the process before he got in office with his family. So he saved his own and kept it moving. Project Mockingbird, I brought up the article. This article is about a CIA wiretapping operation for the alleged CIA program to influence the press. See Operation Mockingbird for overview. In October 2021, the Miller Center of Public Affairs published transcripts of secretly recorded conversations at the Oval Office during the summer of 1962, when Kennedy took steps using the CIA to spy on Hanson Baldwin, the national security reporter of the New York Times. Baldwin had angered the president with an article in the July 26, 1962 issue of the New York Times that divulged classified information with a recent national intelligence estimate, including the comparison of the United States and Soviet Union's nuclear arsenals and the Soviets' efforts to protect their international ballistic missile site. So basically, America was using the CIA to spy and planting people in the media, to put stories into the media, which we know they're doing now. You have a place like CNN, CBS, Fox News that'll bring somebody on their platform and say, former CIA operative, former FBI. Like, there's no such thing as former. Once you're in there, you're always in there. You're always a spy. They're not trustworthy. They're always lying. Honorable, how much did Sky News Australia get? Oh yeah, they definitely got some money. Sky News Australia they probably benefited the most from the Biden presidency. They kicked his back in ways that even Fox News didn't do. They was on Kamala ass. They was on all of them. Regina says, "Hey y'all, still going, huh? I made it the time before Duke say all praise to the Most High." How you doing, Regina? Arnold says, "We were waiting for you, Regina." Thank you. So yeah, let's go on. We already talked about this. They were denied entry into the education department. Oh, you see Trump, he signed that bill to stop trans girls or women from women's sports.
Secret Service is worried about them? If we have to worry about them, we have big problems. Okay, do you want to do this?
say there was no black little girls, so they can go get shook my down, and there was the desk. But I will say this: y'all complain when black people get in the room with him, and then y'all complain when there's no black people in the room with him. I don't. Which one do you want? Do you want him to not invite any black people? Which one? Virginia says that looks creepy. Honorable, they was out here letting that frail man block.
Watch what I do, and then I'm going to give you some pens, okay? You ready? What a picture this is, huh, Governor? You ready? We'll do a good job. Wait, let me press that. I want to make this a really good signature, because this is, this is a big one, right? Oh, I think we have a 10. We have a 10.
God bless you, Mr. President.
He just so you're here to reach media pass for the White House. Yeah, I don't know if it was true. So it was true. He did try media pass. I mean, technically, he's independent media. He's a political commentator now. Well, I guess he been one. He always talk politics, but I mean, yeah, why not? Then say, y'all, I just watched a video of an Amish woman dancing to Cardi B. Now that is some serious symbolism indicating the she just released a song. What's that guy's name? Party. Yeah, it's not for me. It's not for me. Let me show this. Virginia, you showed this is the last topic. We're gonna quick little read this. NATO allies discuss sending troops to Greenland after Trump threats. European countries held informal talks on options if U.S. president moves to seize Danish island. NATO Senate thinking about discussing sending troops to Greenland. I don't. And it's funny because the main person who's at the head of this now is Germany. Remember, Germany the last 5 years or so have gained a lot more control over the European Union influence or the NATO influence. So Germany is trying to be the big dog. That's why I saw a lot of British people. The reason why the UK wanted out of the European Union is because they felt like Germany and France were having too much influence, considering they considered them cowards. One, you saw what Germany did last time they had power and influence. We saw what they did, and France is known for running, at least their military. Their citizens are known for getting shit. They're known for rioting and burning shit down and killing people. But their military is known for being, they've had some bad run-ins in the military. They're known for being cowards, really. So now you see, I've seen a lot of French citizens. They don't like the influence that Germany is beginning to regain now. So we'll see how that goes. Adam says, she the face of New York rap. To the west we go. They need to get their population numbers up. Well, that's why back in 2018, 2016 or whatever, they had that giant influx of North Africans and Arabs because they needed a population boost. That's why there was a lot of pushback from the citizens because their populations. Now, I think they said the most popular name right now in Britain, or maybe the UK, I don't know if it's all United Kingdom, but in Britain in general, the most popular name is Muhammad. Britain said they beefing in Greenland. That's crazy. They beefing in Greenland. That's crazy. Yeah. Trump wants it for strategic reasons against China and Russia, while, the Danish people, they want to keep control of it because they want that advantage. Even if I'm not mistaken, America has military base in Greenland. Trump just won't control it. So it got to be some type of financial reason he wants to do that, or resource for some resources. And also, you see Gaza. We said that a while ago that the Gaza Strip in Israel has oil. And now you see Trump getting in these interviews and saying America should take Gaza. Adam says, are we seeing on the enforcement of German with most of the white people being them? Are we seen as an enforcement for Germany? No. Germany is not. It's complicated. Most of the, how they have you hear a lot of Pan-Africans say, there's such thing as Pan-European police because they work together even if they hate each other. That's kind of what they are. Germany don't really get along. None of those countries in Europe like America. They don't like America. But they're the big dog. They're the one with the military and the money. So, you know, which is why Trump last time he was in office, he was complaining, saying, damn, we putting way more money in the pot than everybody else. But this needs to be fair. Y'all need to put more money in the pot. So it is what it is. Keeper says, I got to go. I catch the rest on replay. Have a great week, everyone. Oh, this is the end, actually. You're leaving right at the end with us. So have a great week, as stress-free as possible to you and your family. Brain says, everywhere in the U.S. invades a military base automatically appears. Quickly. Quickly. You know, and funny enough, some people want a military base because they're going to get some money. What country was that? It was somewhere in South America. Was it Brazil, Colombia, one of those, where they offered their military base to America as a for a loan or something? I can't remember. Yeah. So anyway, y'all, thank y'all for coming through. Nice little show we had here. Talked about some good topics here. Good conversation. Really appreciate the support. Be sure to like it on your way out. Please like it on the way out. Subscribe if you're not. Share it if you can. And as always, to everyone, y'all be safe. All praise to the Most High. And peace, man. Zip it up. Zip it. I think we'll see.